Hey, this is Carmen Edwards. This is my presentation on problem solving in policing for Community Policing CRJ 410, Thomas University for Lori Battle. The first thing I wanted to discuss is what is problem solving? The Encyclopedia of Psychology defines problem solving as a mental process that involves discovering, analyzing, and solving problems. The ultimate goal of problem solving is to overcome obstacles and find a solution that best resolves the issue. As this relates to proactive policing, the problem solving approach involves identifying problems and making discussions about how best to deal with them. The proactive approach is a basic characteristic of community policing, and part of this is recognizing problems and determining their underlying causes. Problem-oriented policing. According to Herman Goldstein, who coined the term, problem-oriented policing is a strategy that involves the identification and analysis of specific crime and disorder problems. For years, police focused on the means of policing rather than the ends, according to Goldstein. In 1979, Goldstein called for a shift in policing methods. He thought there was a need to replace the reactive, incident-driven, standard model of policing approach to a new method that would require police to be proactive in identifying underlying problems that could be targeted to reduce crime and disorder at the root. This strategy places more emphasis on research and analysis as well as crime prevention and the engagement of public and private organizations in the reduction of community problems. Around this time, there was a lot of research done that pointed out the limitations of random patrol, rapid response, and follow-up criminal investigations, practices that had been the foundation of policing for many years. The findings laid the groundwork for the need for problem orientation policing. Some of these findings included police deal with a range of community problems, many of which are not strictly criminal in nature. Arrest and prosecution alone, the traditional functions of the criminal justice system, do not always effectively resolve problems. Given the officers who have great insight into community problems, the discretion to design solutions is extremely valuable to solving the problems. Police can use a variety of methods to redress recurring problems. And the community values police involvement in non-criminal problems and recognize the contribution the police can make to solving these problems. Some earlier experiments occurred in Wisconsin, London, and Maryland in the early 80s. The first evaluation of an agency-wide implementation of problem-oriented policing took place in the Newport News, Virginia Police Department by the Police Executive Research Forum in the mid-1980s. Since then, many police agencies in the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Scandinavia, Australia, and New Zealand have continued to experiment with problem-oriented policing to apply it to a wide range of crime and disorder problems and to change the organization to better support problem-oriented policing. As problem-oriented policing has evolved over the last 2 decades, researchers and practitioners have focused on the evaluation of problems, the importance of solid analysis and the development of pragmatic responses, and the need of strategically engaged other resources, including community members, city departments, and government agencies and local businesses and service organizations. To fully understand problem-oriented policing, there must be a grasp on what a problem is as it relates to policing. Goldstein defined a problem as a cluster of similar, related, or reoccurring incidents rather than a single incident, a substantive community concern, and a unit of police business. Basically, a problem is a reoccurring set of related harmful events in a community that members of the public expect the police to take care of. An incident is a single, isolated event. Problem-solving policing requires police to group incidents and identify the underlying cause of problems. Problem-oriented policing and community policing. Problem solving has been a key component of community policing since it was introduced. Confusion between problem-oriented policing and community policing occasionally exists. Some view the two as opposing methods, while others see them as a pair. So basically, they're either together or they're against each other. The following chart compares elements of problem-oriented policing and community policing. If you want to look over that for comparison's sake. Many police leaders and teachers tend to agree that these concepts overlap in philosophy and practice. Basically what it boils down to, the bottom line is, it can't be one or the other, it's one and the other. The problem-solving approach was developed partially in response to concerns for efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency is minimizing waste, expense, or unnecessary effort. This results in a high ratio of output to input, doing things right. Effectiveness is producing the desired result or goals, doing the right things. Many agencies face contradictions between efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency has been the traditional emphasis in law enforcement. Effectiveness is the emphasis in community policing. Ultimately, effectiveness should produce an increase in efficiency because officers are proactively solving problems rather than simply reacting to them. All right, now we're going to look at the SARA model. This is a commonly used problem-solving method standing for Scanning, Analysis, Response, and Assessment. It includes the following elements. Scanning, and included in scanning is identifying recurring problems of concern to the public and the police, identifying consequences to the problems, prioritizing the problems, developing goals, confirming that the problem exists, determining how frequently the problem occurs and how long it has been taking place, and selecting problems for closer examination. Our next step is analysis. Analysis includes identifying and understanding the events and conditions that precede and accompany the problem, identifying relevant data to be collected, research what is known about the problem, take inventory of how the problem is currently addressed and the strengths and limitations of the current response, narrow the scope of the problem, be very specific, identify a variety of resources that may be of assistance in developing a better understanding of the problem, and develop a working hypothesis about why the problem is occurring. Our next step in the SARA model is response. Response should include brainstorming for new interventions, searching for what other communities with similar problems have done, choosing among the alternative interventions, outlining a response plan and identifying responsible parties, stating the specific objectives for the response plan, and carrying out the planned activities. And the final step in the SARA model is assessment. During assessment, you want to determine whether the plan was implemented, collect pre- and post-response qualitative and quantitative data. You want to determine whether broad goals and specific objectives were attained, identify any new strategies needed to augment the original plan, and conduct ongoing assessments to ensure continued effectiveness. Alright, ethics. The Dilemmas, Options, Consequences model challenges officers daily to carefully consider their decisions and the short and long-term consequences of their decisions, with the goal of fusing problem-solving and morality. Excuse me. Something that we frequently talk about in corrections is Ken Blanchard's power of ethical management. And we're reminded every day of how to handle ethical dilemmas, especially in the field that we're in, and it's something that can be applied to any ethical dilemma in any field. And the first thing that you always want to consider is it legal? If it's legal, okay. If not, absolutely not. The next thing you want to think about, according to Ken Blanchard, is it fair? And finally, you want to think about how does it make you feel? Working through ethical dilemmas can be something that needs to be done in any type of situation. Think carefully before reacting. All right, problem-solving tools. In addition to ethical management, officers have other problem-solving tools available to them. One tool that they have at their disposal is mediation. A mediation is the intervention of a third party into an interpersonal dispute where the third party helps disputants reach a resolution that is often termed alternative dispute resolution. It's basically a shared problem solving between parties in dispute guided by a neutral person. They can solve community problems as a result in time saving for the police. Other problem solving tools involve technology. Technology is indispensable today. The use of computers is a great aid in problem solving. One of the first things that can be used in technology is CompStat. I'm pretty sure we've all heard of a CompStat before, but this is computer statistics, a progressive goal-oriented information-driven strategy that provides accurate and timely collection of data and intelligence, rapid deployment of personnel or resources, effective tactics and strategies to address crime and disorder, and relentless follow-up, assessment, and accountability. Research has shown that CompStat can be effective in reducing property crime, but it doesn't significantly reduce violent crime. Another tool available is crime mapping. Crime mapping changes the focus from the criminal to the location of the crime, pinpoints the hotspots. The days of the color-coded pins on the paper maps are gone. This is all done with programs, mapping software designed to examine and predict crime and criminal behavior is used. Agencies are able to see how well crime is distributed, not how well, but how crime is distributed throughout their jurisdiction. The next is geographic information system. This one just takes crime mapping up a notch. The system enhances the traditional mapping by adding information from various other databases. This information can include vacant housing units, parks, schools, income levels from census, patterns of car thefts, or location of chop shops. Now we go one more step above the geographic information system, and we get geographic profiling. Ups the ante a little bit more. This program takes the technology a step further by allowing analysts to identify areas within the community that are statistically similar to locations where prior incidents have occurred, and in turn at increased risk for future incidents. This aids in the proactive approach of problem solving and community policing. Crime-specific planning. To ensure effective police and community partnerships, police must continue to fulfill their crime-fighting roles. Crime-specific planning uses the principle of problem solving to focus on identified crime problems. This type of planning involves reviewing the following factors: the offense, seriousness, frequency of occurrence, susceptibility to control, whether a crime of opportunity or calculation, the modus operandi, and any violent characteristics present. The next is the target, property taken or damaged, when attached, how attached, where located, number of potential targets in the area, accessibility, transportation patterns surrounding the target. The impact on the community, public concern, the drain of resources on criminal justice system, and the response of the victim, the community, and the criminal justice system. Careful analysis of these factors gives the groundwork for problem solving and alternative for approaching each crime problem. Common mistakes in problem solving. We all know mistakes are necessary because we learn from mistakes. They're going to happen. There are some mistakes that can and should be avoided, if at all possible, because they signal procedural problems and inefficiencies that impede actual forward progress in solving a problem. Some of these mistakes could include spending too much energy on unimportant details, failing to resolve important issues, having a closed mind, being secretive about true feelings, or not expressing ideas. Try to remember when evaluating a problem, ask if the decision is consistent with the agency's mission, goals, and objectives. Is it a long-term fix? Is it cost-effective? Is it ethical? These are things that you need to think about to avoid some of these common mistakes in problem solving. Problem solving in use. The Center of Problem-Oriented Policing provides a quarterly newsletter of the Police Executive Research Forum reporting on innovations in problem-oriented policing. Their website also gives information on many case studies and a variety of problems to help police formulate effective responses. Experiments that are available for review include Wisconsin, North Carolina, and London, and many other studies are available for review by anyone to read and get assistance from. The Center of Problem-Oriented Policing holds yearly conferences. They're attended by police officers, police leaders, all the ranks in between, as well as crime consultants and crime researchers. These professionals come together to discuss what they've learned about trying to reduce different crime and safety problems. Problem-solving recognition. Awards have been implemented to recognize individual agencies and community efforts at curbing local crime and disorder through problem-oriented policing. The first award, the Herman Goldstein Award, this was first introduced in 1993 to outstanding police officers and police agencies, both in the United States and around the world, that engage in innovative and effective problem-solving efforts and achieve measurable success in reducing specific crime, disorder, and public safety problems. This international competition is named after the founder of problem-oriented policing, who's Herman Goldstein, of course. Some of the recent winners include a project on reducing cycle theft with an approach between Transportation for London and the Metropolitan Police Services. Another one is Alexandria Police Department on moped registration because they had an excessive amount of moped thefts. All of these projects are available for review on the Center for Problem-Oriented Policing website, as well as many other winning submissions. The next award is the Tilley Award. The Tilley Award was set up by the UK Home Office Policing and Reducing Crime Unit in 1999 to encourage and recognize good practices in implementing problem-oriented policing. This award, funded by the Home Office, pays for winners to attend the annual International Problem-Oriented Policing Conference in San Diego. This usually provides the opportunity for winners to present their project at the conference. Prizes are presented at the annual UK National Problem-Oriented Policing Conference, and this award is open to all UK police forces. Winners of this award, as well as project submissions, are available for review on the site as well. In closing, Herman Goldstein said, problem-oriented policing carries a commitment to implementing the new strategy, rigorously evaluating its effectiveness, and subsequently reporting the results in ways that will benefit other police agencies and that will ultimately contribute to building a body of knowledge that supports the further professionalism of the police. Thank you.